Hi, my name is Jaycee Choi, and I am a Jungian Typology enthusiast as well as an Enneagram enthusiast, and I have my series on productivity. So today's episode is essentially on how to stay on top of like schoolwork, and it doesn't have to be schoolwork, it could just be like responsibilities in general. And since I am a perceiver, there's like the stereotype of like perceivers are usually typically really bad at like staying on task, and they're really big on procrastinating. So today I just want to break down like how to stay on top of your stuff. And I'm currently a college student, so that's kind of where I'm focusing on. So for me, something that's really important is when the quarter starts, it's very important to me to write down every single assignment that is assigned. Like, you get your syllabus usually at the very beginning of the quarter or semester. So right when you get it, I write it all down. So what I use is I use Google Calendar in conjunction with Google Keep. I use my calendar to schedule out my days, and I use Keep to write down all my responsibilities. And making sure that I have all of that on there to begin with makes it really a lot harder for me to forget, because in general, like, like I think the big P thing is like P's end up being like, oh my goodness, there was homework, or I didn't know there was homework, or I didn't do it, or I had no idea it was coming up so soon, or whatever. So for me, like, just being aware of when things are due and stuff, that's like very important. Another way to stay on top of schoolwork would probably just be like scheduling, because I know P's tend to not like structure as much, and like the truth is that like you do need structure, in my opinion at least, to get through college, and like like to get through college well, right? So actually scheduling out your day helps so much with like actually getting things done. And the way that I would resolve the like, oh, but I don't want to, I'm a P, like that feeling, or like I want to procrastinate, is like give yourself like set time when you're like allowed to rest and procrastinate. Like I give myself like 2 hours sometimes, and I'm like, I can do whatever I want in there. So then I could like sleep, I could like play games, I could watch a show, compared to like just being on my phone like idly throughout the day, and like it ends up taking up 3 or 4 hours when I check later on my phone stats. Like, it's like being intentional about how you spend your time helps you really stay on top of your schoolwork, and give yourself like a rest day. Like I don't really do like studying on like between like Friday night and Saturday night, and also it's like it's a religion thing, so I don't do much on those days on that time anyway. So I like get back to studying like Saturday night, but Friday nights, I sleep early, I sleep in on Saturdays if I want, like, like I just do what I want. So being intentional with how you spend your time is honestly the best way to stay on top of things. And I know that that's like such a like, well, of course people say that, but I think the most important thing to like overcome like the procrastination is like being intentional with when you're actually like, give yourself time to goof off. Like otherwise you will burn out. Like people always talk about it, like, and P's tend to just like goof off and like do whatever they want until like right before the deadline, because we're chronic procrastinators, until right before the deadline, and then you do your things or you turn it in late. Like, why not schedule out the times when you can goof off while still getting your stuff done? It's like you don't have to necessarily decide between the two. So that would just be my big advice. Like, be intentional about when you're playing and when you're working, and like separating the two will make it a lot easier for you to like get things done quickly, and like then your play is focused and you don't feel guilty. Because at least for me, like if I'm just like goofing off, I feel so guilty for not doing my work. But if I had intentionally put aside like that hour to like goof off and like do whatever I want, no guilt, then I don't feel bad. But then when it comes time to study, I also need to study. So it comes down to like focusing, concentrating, be strong with yourself. Like, you got to push yourself sometimes, but also like allow yourself the freedom to like do what you want, and let your NE go crazy if you have NE, or your SE, or whatever functions you have, let yourself go crazy, like, but be intentional. Yeah, so that's the end of this video. If you have other questions on productivity tips or anything in general, then feel free to ask, and I will see you on my next episode. Thank you very much.